Hello and good evening, more like it. It is Monday, Labor Day, September 6th, 2021. Okay, I'm shooting a video here briefly about mirrors and mirrors used in sorcery and why the elites are so obsessed with mirrors. And so I'd like to also stay to enter the stars, because I know you occasionally watch my channel, that you are you're doing a great job with your videos, but that one some of the videos you shot in the past, for example, Loki, like you did an analysis on Loki, and you tapped into the fact that, like, I'm sure the viewer might understand this because I understood this when watching it, but you could mention this to the viewer. Is that they're mirroring you in the Loki series. The guy's name is Casey, who works at the desk at the TVA. He's mirroring you because he doesn't fish at all and you go fishing, and his name's actually Casey. Your name is also Casey, so I'm sure you understand that they're mirroring you. And so, yeah, I'm just bringing up a couple things I saw about your show recently where they're using mirrors, where I kind of picked up on the fact that they're using mirrors in these shows that you're picking apart, and also the show The 100 that you analyzed on, I believe it's September 5th or September 6th being today. The show that came out just recently, they're using a mirror as well a little bit because they were blasting the cells of the bodies of these people, and it was healing them apparently, right? It was blasting the abscess or tumors with a frequency, right? But in our reality, the exact opposite is happening. It's a mirror of this reality, because in this reality, they're blasting people with frequencies and it's causing tumors. So you understand that's why I think that they're showing mirrors, and the elites show mirrors constantly in a lot of their entertainment, and I'm going to get into it in terms of why they use mirrors and why they're really quite obsessed with mirrors. And so a lot of it has to do with the elite. It's been said that a good witch or wizard will copy the Bible, and or go in the opposite direction of the Bible, and or invert the Bible. So there's that aspect too. There's also the aspect that Lucifer tries to be like the Most High, and so there's a copy of the Bible, and the elites do this constantly. They copy the Bible almost nonstop. Let me move that there. Okay, so we have that. So they kind of copy the Bible. I'm going to get to some notes here just to show you my notes so you can see a little bit of a visual here of what I have notes on here of. And so anyway, the elites are copying basically God to a certain extent, because they copy God in a lot of movies, and this is why they like mirrors so much, because they copy the Most High and they try to be like the Most High a bit. And so like if you look at it like this, like Christ's birthday is Abba, right? And Abba means father. And the date of Christ's, my mistake, not Christ's birthday, but Christ's date of conception, which is 12/21 up here. You'll see this 12/21 up here. I gotta remove the cursor a bit. The 12/21 up here is a mirror date. So you have that. So they copy. That's one of the reasons why they copy. They also copy the cube of heaven nonstop. Being, you can see it in various religions such as Judaism, Islam, the Kaaba, and Islam's a copy of the cube of heaven, etc. And so anyway, we have that. So they're mirroring, they're copying heaven a bit, but let's get back to the date. The dates, they're mirroring the date of Christ's conception, being Abba, and so they look at that, and they also, God's represented in our anatomy, as Under the Stars shows, and so the way we view the world is actually reflected in a mirror on our brain, in terms of that the left eye, let's say, will go to the right side of the brain, and then the right eye will go to the left side of the brain. So it's a mirror. The way we see things is actually mirrored in the brain. It gets flipped around, because mirrors always flip the image around a bit. They invert the image. So even though they reflect it, a mirror will invert the image. And so the elites also like mirrors because it's used in divination and it's used in sorcery. And this is mostly because it reflects the fact that they like to go and invert the Bible a bit, and they invert the rules that the Bible sets down a bit. and they also copy them, but at the same time. So the mirror accomplishes both of those things, and which is one of the reasons why it's used in divination. It's used in it's been said by some people who are in high up in sorcery that if you keep reflecting a person in a mirror, you can maybe help aid them in seeing the future, but that's up for debate. But anyway, so let's get back to the fact that the elites like to invert the image, and this is why they like mirrors. Let's talk about the other thing is they are what we have here. The elites know that what we have here is an inverted reality of what's up above. For example, here you die in the curse, whereas up above it's timeless. So down here it's good and evil, and up there they know only good apparently. And the firmament itself is possibly it's described as a glass-like substance. So a glass-like substance has mirror-like qualities to it, and so what's up above is kind of like a mirror as well, even though you can clearly see that there's water up above. And they take this mirror and they reflect in our reality. I mean, your TV, your flat screen TV too, as well, is also a mirror. It's used as it's a big scrying board basically. Mirrors are used in scrying boards as well. Big old scrying boards that are used for divination purposes. Anyway, and so one of the things that the elites, you can tell that they use mirrors constantly. We'll get into now how they constantly use mirrors and examples of it. They use it in movies a lot, and they use it to basically harass people a bit in monarch programming a bit. They reflect them a bit. It's a form of okay, if you reflect a person enough, you effectively steal something from them. It's like stealing something from them a bit when you keep reflecting them again and again. It's stealing something from them, it's draining them. So it's a form of sorcery. And so in movies they reflect people basically, and they mirror them typically. And the reason why they mirror them is because the elites are obsessed with mirrors. As I keep going on about, they are obsessed with mirrors. They like them because they're copying the Most High, and they're inverting the Most High by mirroring the Bible and mirroring other things. We'll just say, to be vague. And so anyway, but in a movie though, the other bonus that they get out from mirroring someone in a movie, such as myself or others, is that the movie, when you watch a movie, it always has a disclaimer saying that that this movie in no way, shape, or form depicts people in reality, even though it does. But they can then get away with it with saying that this movie, they can get away with pleading not guilty and saying that this movie doesn't depict people because they mirror the people in the movies. And so they then can effectively plead not guilty and then say, hey, this movie definitely in TV show in no way, shape, or form depicts people in reality. So that's one reason why they do that. And you can see this kind of, the mirror also represents the duality of our tree. That's another reason why the elites are obsessed with it. The mirror itself has a duality to it. I mean, because it flips the image around. And now we'll get into what I was just discussing, which is that the examples of them using mirrors. For example, they'll mirror me in movies. Usually I'll be depicted as a woman, which inverts me. For example, I'm watching a show called The Owl House right now, and they are they're depicting me a bit with the main witch woman, who oh God, what's the name for it? What's the word for? How are they doing it again? Oh, she goes through the garbage and stuff, and it's like, yeah, exactly. I sometimes go through. I dumpster dive a little bit out here a bit, so that's kind of like mirroring me a bit. And she depicts me a bit in that her house is dirty, and I kind of keep a clean house, and she reflects me a bit in that, I'm kind of getting older, and she's kind of getting older as well. And she's allowed to be everywhere in every coven, which is kind of her depicting Lucifer. They frequently have me depicting Lucifer as well. It's complicated. So anyway, so the other thing is, you can kind of see their obsession with mirrors again and again in movies, so we'll get into that a bit. The movie The Shining, that's they flip the words around with red rum to mean murder. We have the song Suddenly I See older song from the lower 2000s. And they're talking, and it's real subtle in the song, and that's how they usually do it in entertainment. They talk about like a silver reflecting in a silver pool, and it's like really subtly suggesting a mirror, although it's not explicitly stated that there's a mirror, but it's really subtly suggesting a mirror in that song. One thing that they do is that when they do murder people occasionally, for people who are in the Illuminati, they will sometimes make the murder itself a mirror, basically, and they will throw mirrors into the murder. And this shows you also, once again, how obsessed they are with using mirrors in sorcery and how obsessed they are with mirrors in general. It seems to be a very old occult practice and a very old sorcery practice. And so I will briefly state that a long time ago, let me just clear my throat for a second. A long time ago, I had there was an issue with a girlfriend of mine in which I was blamed for her suicide, but the suicide never happened. But the murder of the family did happen, and when they reflected me in the murder, they mirrored my name, basically. And this is with the post up here. You can see the numbers. They basically, the date, and this is one of many things they put into the murder, but they did much more than just this as far as numbers are concerned. But this is an example of them using mirrors, and that my name's GCC, I'll give my full name out here, even though this is probably, well, let's just say my initials are GCC. I don't want to give my full name out here, so this way people can't find my information. My initials, just let it be known, are GCC. My name, by the way, to get off topic, actually has almost all the occult numbers in it, which is one of the reasons why I was selected for the Illuminati. Because that's how you move up sometimes, that you have occult numbers in your name, or sacred numbers in your name. So anyway, long story short, we'll get back on topic here. They mirrored my name is mirrored in the date that they were murdered on, so my name is GCC 733. So, but you reverse that and it becomes 337. 337 is March 3rd, 2007, which is when one of my girlfriends was murdered, and I knew that it was a hoax. I knew that what I was told a while ago was a lie. This was not a hoax, though. This was real, apparently. What I was told, though, about them was a lie, though. I was blamed for her suicide. The suicide never happened. And that's a part of monarch programming when they do that to an individual. It happens to mostly young children, but it happens to people sometimes that are older. So anyway, they basically, someone stabbed my girlfriend to death and then drowned the mother. And they're mirroring me. This is where you also get the Rage Against the Machine song, Killing in the Name of, exactly. They took my name and they put a piece of it in the crime. So that's that. And so the other thing is here's another example of them using death magic to, using a mirror in death magic. So man crushed on an RT article, and it was a global news article in Manhattan a couple years back. There was a man who was crushed to death in an elevator. And so the day before that this man was crushed to death in an elevator, I don't know, by the way, I'd like to say that I didn't see the hoax code in the man being crushed to death in the elevator. I did not see any hoax code. I can identify hoax codes frequently in news articles, so I know whether or not it's a hoax immediately when I see the hoax code. But this man was apparently possibly killed, and so is what my conclusion is. So he's reflecting me, he's mirroring me, because the day before that, what happened was I was cleaning an elevator at my work. I was cleaning a button because the button was dirty. I said, I should clean it, it's dirty. And so I cleaned it off a bit. But if you look at it like this, he is mirroring me because I'm alive, and he made the elevator dirty by getting killed in it. I mean, you really would make the elevator dirty, unfortunately, just to state the facts, if you happen to get crushed to death in an elevator. He got pulled up by the elevator and kind of crushed to death. And so he's doing the exact opposite to the elevator, basically, that I was doing. So he's therefore mirroring me. So this is just putting an example of how they use mirrors in a combination of movies and in death magic, basically, which is what high-level sorcery is. It's about death magic to a certain extent. So anyway, I'm going to... I'm not so sure about this one comment I have here. I'd have to look at this. Let me take a look real quickly. That's one example, but not quite an example. I mean, you could say that's a mirror of the COVID thing. Is that that it's not COVID that's the problem, it's the vaccine, but that could be a little bit of a mirror. That's a bit of a stretch. But anyway, you get the point of how they use mirrors now, and you understand now what I understand, which is how they use mirrors, and also the Narcisse comment. This shows you their obsession with mirrors as well. Like, Narcisse was always looking into his reflection, and it's also, happens to be a pool of water, and water is also a portal sometimes, but water, it might represent the well, this is one comment we should have discussed earlier, is that this is another reason why because they like Narcisse, they like the Greek gods a bit. So one of the reasons why they like mirrors so much is because Narcisse was looking at his reflection, and some of the elites are narcissistic. It's ego worship, and it's self-aggrandizement, and so anyway, Narcisse was always looking at his reflection in the water, and it happened to be, water that he was looking at. So we got I don't know if that's going to represent the firmament in some way, but I don't think so. But in any way, that just shows you more of the elite obsession with mirrors, because, he was looking at his reflection, and it's just one of many reasons why they like mirrors so much. And also, to show one more thing of why they like mirrors so much, stayed on Nicholson 1968's videos. He has one video about John Dee and Queen Elizabeth, and John Dee used a scrying board frequently, which is basically a mirror. So mirrors were used in the past a lot, and that's early modern Europe that they were using that with John Dee and Queen Elizabeth. John Dee was the advisor to Queen Elizabeth. I don't think Queen Elizabeth was using it, was just John Dee, so I should clarify that. It was just John Dee, the advisor to Queen Elizabeth, who was using a mirror. So anyway, so that's about it. I want to drop my phone. I'm just going to cut this video off, and I hope you all have a good day.